Hey guys, so in this video we're going to look at 5 business ideas that have the potential to be worth over ₦1 billion in the next 5 years. Now the reason why I say these business ideas have the potential to be worth ₦1 billion is because in the Western world, these business ideas have already found product market fit and are worth a shitload of money. Permit my French, right? And with the way we are growing in Nigeria and other parts of Africa, this is the best time for us to also begin to launch these sort of businesses and leverage the opportunity or unfair advantage that we actually have as Africans or in the African continent. Now, the first business idea is offering a buy now, pay later service. So there are examples like Klarna, ClearPay, and a business called CredPal that already do this kind of service. So CredPal is the only Nigerian business example that we have that already offers this service. And buy now, pay later services are just basically you can buy something online and spread your payments across 3 weeks, 6 weeks, 3 months, 2 months, 1 month, 6 months, things like that. But if you buy something, let's say for 100,000 naira, and you want to spread your payments across 6 months, you would end up paying 180,000 naira, which again, it sounds more expensive, right? The difference is you don't have to commit to paying 100,000 naira if you don't have 100,000 naira, but you can still use that item, right? That's pretty much buy now, pay later services. Now, the reason why this is the perfect time for one to actually launch this business is because right now, e-commerce is on the come up in Nigeria, right? Not just Nigeria, Africa in general. I believe at the beginning of the year, I spoke about how the e-commerce market or the e-commerce industry is set to hit $7.4 billion this year. Last year was 6.4. This year is 7.4, and there's going to be a consistent projection of at least 10% growth year on year going into 2029, 2030, right? As e-commerce adoption grows within the country, naturally, businesses begin to look for credit support or, financial support. And buy now, pay later services are a fantastic way to offer that support. Now, the quickest way to get this started is to actually partner with e-commerce platforms and businesses. There's a reason why I'm telling you to partner with businesses, and I'll explain why. But let me first explain why you should partner with e-commerce platforms. The people that need your services are customers that go to shop on e-commerce platforms, okay? You have platforms like Klarna and ClearPay that have already shown you how to leverage product market fit. So basically, the model that you can plug and play is literally there in the Western world. Obviously, you have to adapt and make a few changes to fit the Nigerian structure. Now, that's where businesses come in. Now, one of the issues that we have with this particular business is when it comes to credit history, it's still a work in progress in Nigeria, right? We have the BVN, we have all these things, but we've not been able to automate that whole process, right? There's that whole gap in infrastructure at the moment, and hopefully somebody is able to solve it for us very soon. Again, that can be me, that can be you, whoever God calls to serve it, right? But basically, this is why I want you to partner with businesses. Now, the best way for you to know somebody is earning an income or making any money is for you to go to where they work and understand how much they earn. You don't need to know the full number or exact number. All you need is a range. Based on that range, you can then offer buy now, pay later services to that customer, and then they can go and shop on the e-commerce platform. You see where these partnerships come in. That's the quickest way for you to execute. For example, let's say I run a e-commerce platform that sells laptops, right? Damini online. And then I've gone to identify a buy now, pay later service that you started, right? Now that buy now, pay later service you started, you have partnered with a company, right? Called Odogu PLC. Okay. Now, people that work for Odogu PLC can come and shop on daminionline.com and buy laptops on credit using your buy now, pay later service. You see how partnerships work? So that's exactly how this particular business will come to life. And like I said, Klarna and ClearPay have already shown you what product market fit can typically look like. All you need to do is just adapt it to the Nigerian market. Now, when it comes to your target audience, honestly, you can go the B2B or B2C route, right? B2B, I think I mentioned this in a video where I was talking about 100 million Naira business ideas. I'll tag it up here. But B2B could be you identifying businesses that want to buy, you know, a series of laptops or a series of I think in that particular video I spoke about renewable energy, a series of solar panels to give to their staff, things like that. So that would be more of B2B. You can leverage B2C, which is very common, where people can go and shop online, buy clothes, buy home appliances, and spread the cost with your buy now pay later service. Now, the major hurdle or the major issue with this particular business idea, I kind of spoke about it a little bit, is our credit system in Nigeria is a work in progress, right? I'm gonna structure this conversation in that way, where there's so much that we need to do. There's so much transparency that is required. There is so much, you know, infrastructure that is needed that can link a buy now pay later service to these two partners that we're talking about, that doesn't involve a lot of, oh, what is in it for me, oh, why should we trust you, oh, this, oh, that. It's a bit complicated, but hey, this is why, you know, it's bound to give you rewards of over R1 billion in the next few years. If you want to make money, you're going to have to make these sacrifices. The next business idea is niche marketplaces. And when it comes to niche marketplaces, because of my career path and my career journey, I've worked with a shit ton of these guys. So you have things like CEX, you have Back Market, you have Silk Fred, you have a platform called Fair, you have Not on the High Street. You know, I can go on and on and on, right? The difference between a niche marketplace and the normal marketplaces that you're aware of. So normal marketplaces will be Amazon, Jumia, Konga, AliExpress, things like that. The difference between a niche marketplace and these general marketplaces is a niche marketplace would focus on a particular demand or series or set of products and services, right? And I'll give you a very good example. When you look at Not on the High Street, Not on the High Street sells products that are not on the high street. They sell products that, you know, are not common, mostly family-owned businesses, small or not even medium scale, small scale businesses, things like that. Etsy as well is some form of niche marketplace where they promote a lot of arts and crafts entrepreneurs or creators on their platform. Today, maybe a lot more people sell on Etsy, but that was the whole point of Etsy being built, right? Let's bring this home to Nigeria. So one of the things that I never used to understand before is when you look at Ladipo, right, the big mechanic shop or big mechanic village that everybody goes to go and buy spare parts. I find it very, very interesting that somebody that loves cars and understands how the internet works has not built an online version of Ladipo. That is a business idea just waiting to pop off. Ideally, that's an example of how many niche marketplaces we can actually begin to create from Nigeria or Africa. And we're not the first people to do it. I'll give you an example. There's a platform called Africare. Africare now is now called Anchor Marketplace. So basically what they do is they sell African inspired outfits, African inspired products to the Western world. So they are literally a niche marketplace. So you can see when it comes to niche marketplaces, you don't have to build a localized niche marketplace where it is Nigerians selling to Nigerians. You can build it in a scenario where it is Nigerians selling to people outside of Nigeria or people outside of Nigeria selling to Nigerians. The internet has made everything very accessible for us, okay? So you should think like that. And this is exactly why this idea has the potential of hitting R1 billion in the next few years. Now, when it comes to the quickest way to execute, building these platforms are not as crazy difficult as they used to be, right? I remember when I built my first marketplace, I had to use WordPress, WooCommerce, and I think it was a Docan plugin that I used, right? Nowadays, there are so many platforms that you can leverage and build these things off. You can leverage platforms like Shopify, you can leverage platforms like ShareTribe, you can leverage platforms like WooCommerce and Docan Cloud, you know, things like that. However, when you build these platforms, right, you need to make sure that you build it in a thriving niche. Either you build it in a niche that set to thrive. For example, the fashion niche in Nigeria is very, very hot. Or you can leverage your unfair advantage. So using the example of the cars, if you are a car lover, you are the perfect person to build a niche marketplace for Ladipo, like ladipoonline.com, literally, or something like that, or Ladipo Mechanic Online, or mechanicvillage.com.ng. I don't know, something like that. That's literally a niche marketplace waiting to happen right there. Now, when it comes to target audience, you can go the B2B or B2C route. The choice is yours. So B2B would be you are a business that sells to other businesses, offer wholesale services, wholesale supplies, things like that. Or you can go the B2C route where you just sell directly to customers, right? One thing I must tell you is B2B is more profitable because the margins and the amount of money per that's a mouthful. The amount of money per order is a lot higher compared to B2C, right? Somebody that is buying a series of, let's say, car parts for their fleet, right, is going to pay you a whole lot more money than somebody that just trying to change the wheel of their Toyota Camry, right? Big shout out to everyone that has a Toyota Camry. But that's pretty much it. Now, how do you take this to the market? Once you've built your platform, you're going to have to leverage organic social media content, depending on what you sell. But majority of the time, your customers are definitely on Instagram or TikTok, which means you and your team might have to shake your booty to make people laugh and things like that. But trust me, future you will be happy. Future you would understand that, we have a lot of money because you shook your booty on the internet, right? Hope you know what I mean when I say shake your booty on the internet. I don't mean literally, guys. Just FYI. But yeah, so you want to leverage social media. You want to make sure that you use email marketing, SMS marketing, WhatsApp marketing, things like that, right? We're going to go cheap and cheerful when we first start. All your first set of orders, I'll probably say your first 100 to 1,000 orders, where you can, always deliver it yourself as the CEO, or let somebody of key importance within your company deliver it and document that journey, right? That journey is going to be part of your social proof that you then show that you're a legitimate business that offers great services and is going to continue bringing value year in, year out, things like that, right? You're also going to offer incentives for people that come back with repeat purchases, people that come back to leave customer reviews, all of that. Incentivize these people, right? Once you've done all of this, you're now going to use paid advertising to pour gasoline on top of everything and push it to the max, promote it and take it to the next level. Now, when it comes to the major hurdle of this business, I'll probably say you have two. Number one, Nigerians have still not embraced fully the idea of buying things online. It's still a work in progress, right? People would always prefer to pay on delivery, do payment on delivery if that option is available. I strongly stand against payment on delivery because I've been burnt so many times, and I just understand that kind of customer that wants payment on delivery ideally is not a customer that really wants you to grow your business, that kind of thing, right? That's number one. Number two, the lack of buy now pay later services kind of slows down a lot of things. Now, the next one is the tech servicing company. So you have platforms like Fiverr, Upwork that a lot of people are familiar with. And you also have platforms like Andela, which kind of provide talent for people that are looking for analysts, developers, things like that, right? Now, in the Western world, they also outsource customer care. They also outsource administrative support. They also outsource a lot of marketing, a lot of design, things like that to people in other countries like India, Philippines, South Africa. Now, my question is, why not Nigeria, right? We have the population, we are educated, we speak I was going to say we speak fantastic English, and you saw what just happened. But we actually do speak fantastic English, right? Don't let anybody knock you down for that. But we do speak fantastic English. And the truth of the matter is, we are primed and perfect for these sort of opportunities. That's where you come in, right? You can build a business that develops, platforms that support VAs, that support remote work, that support, people that want to become designers or developers and work remotely, that sort of thing. That could be the servicing company that you build. Now, the quickest way to execute this is to actually build a localized version of Fiverr or Upwork, right? Like I said, these people, they've already shown you the product market fit. They've already given you an idea of this would work, but I need to adapt it to a Nigerian audience or a Nigerian market, things like that. So you can leverage that, right? So once you build your platform, the next thing you're going to have to do is then go and look for partners to work with. Now, you can look for partners within Nigeria or within Africa, right? A lot of funding has come into the country and come into the continent recently. So people can afford these services and people need these services, right? Or you can go for events. So you can go for events where these your partners that you want to work with will be located. So these events, you can actually find them on Eventbrite, right? If you're in the Western world, there's always a startup or an SME event happening somewhere in London or somewhere in Manchester. It won't cost so much, right? In Nigeria, it's very, very easy for you to find these events. Just follow platforms like Tech Cabal. They always talk about these events. And if you're lucky, some of them would have invites where you can pay for or you can request that you want to join. Now, when it comes to target customers, obviously, it's business to business here. In an ideal scenario, you could also look at doing B2G, but that's a very tricky one. When it comes to business, you want to focus on industries that are thriving at the moment or are receiving a lot of funding. So obviously, fintech, agriculture, telecommunications is also very important. You can do this you can target any sort of business. Just make sure that they need or require your services, right? Do they need virtual assistants? Do they need administrative support? Do they need marketing support? Do they need, customer service support? Do they need sales support? A lot of businesses always need sales support. That's a very big gap and it's very, very lucrative because you can earn commissions, things like that. So that will be your target audience. Now, for the go-to-market strategy, the first thing you want to understand or do is how do you leverage SEO, right? Because you're bringing an online platform, like I said, is a localized Fiverr or a localized Upwork. You want to make sure that you have leveraged popular topics that people are currently searching for in the country. So things like, how do I make money online? Things like, how do I make money remotely? How do I make money as a stay-at-home mom? How do I make money as a student? How do I start a career as a remote software developer? How do I become a virtual assistant? There are so many ideas or SEO opportunities that you can begin to build content around and begin to grow your content bank so that when people search for certain things, part of the things that come up would contain your business or your tech servicing company. Another thing you can do is actually offer a free training, right? So how to become a VA, how to become a tech sales support specialist, how to become a customer care representative, how to make foreign currency legally in Nigeria, something like that, right? You can offer these free programs and get people to sign up to join your tech servicing company. Now you have access to the back end. The people that actually complete these free programs, or the people that you see as serious from their CV, their resume, or whatever it is they send to you, right? You then begin to send these people to your partners, those partners that you've identified. Those people hopefully deliver a great service, right? Once they deliver a great service, you get them to record a review. You get the partner that they worked for to also record a review. That's how you begin to build your social proof. That's how you begin to build your content bank. And this is going to be the foundation or the base, the key base of your content strategy. You have your SEO, you have your social media content strategy. You're going to build this up. You build this up for I'll probably say 6 months. Once you build up to 6 months, you know what to do. Paid advertising to promote it and push it to the max. Now, when it comes to the major hurdle for this particular business, finding the partners or finding businesses to work with, right? I spoke about the possibility of working with governments as well, or certain parastatals or offices within government. Being able to find these things would require some form of either nepotism or social network or, prayer and fasting, because this is the challenging part, right? giving people free knowledge and building these things are very, very easy. There are things that I've built before, so it's not as if it's very difficult, right? The challenge, though, like I said, is finding who to work with, or finding the people that will actually give you work when you're done. I also mentioned that, you know what, you can leverage the Western world. You can reach out to people in the UK, in the US, things like that. However, if you are not in these countries, I've learned the hard way that if you're not in these countries, you will get ghosted a lot. The next business idea is running a tech bootcamp. So you have platforms like General Assembly, Lawagon, Career Foundry, I believe Old School does something similar, and things like that. We all know what the unemployment rate is like in Nigeria at the moment. Not just Nigeria, to be fair, the entire world, right? And I've mentioned it already that internet is now accessible to anybody and everybody in the world, which is fantastic. So one thing I've noticed is a lot of people do not mind learning, right? Learning is not the issue. Learning is the least of our problems right now. When we are done learning, where are the opportunities? Where is the job? Where is the project that we're going to work on? Things like that. This is where you come in, right? However, you want to first approach it from an educational sense. So you're providing some form of value. You're providing a boot camp, right? And to explain this idea better, I'm going to use my General Assembly experience. So sometime during the pandemic, I knew I wanted to, become a software developer. And the reason why I knew that is because I started to build my Shopify stores. I started to play around with Liquid, and I was enjoying that whole experience, right? I also started learning a little bit of HTML, a little bit of CSS, and I was just about to kick off JavaScript. So I was like, you know what? This doesn't seem out of my reach, so maybe I can look for platforms where I can use this to jackpot and then pick up a great skill and make some good money. Because back then, even up to now, software developers, they collect bar, right? So my plan was to look for a boot camp, and that's where General Assembly came in. Now, General Assembly at the time, what they would do is you join the program for free, right? You join the program for free, and then they will take you through a 12-week intensive program. Once they take you to that 12-week intensive program, they will then put you in a job, either as an intern or a junior developer or something like that. And then once you started to get paid from that job, that is when you pay them back. That's when you pay General Assembly back, right? So it was a very fantastic model, and I was in for it. A friend of mine spoke to me about it, and he was like, I think this would work for you. That particular person lives in Dubai right now, chopping very good life. But yeah, so that was it. I applied, everything went okay, but the challenge that I had was I was in Nigeria, right? So it didn't work out for me. Let's fast forward. 2025 is here. Internet is much more accessible, much more affordable, and we've also matured and developed as a nation, and we now offer similar, if not better, services than some certain parts of the Western world, right? So this is the perfect time for you to build that. It's perfect time. There's never been a better time for these kind of things to be built. So you can build your own boot camp, find partners that you can work with, and then offer payment plans that will not kill people, basically. Because back then, General Assembly, if you wanted to pay outright, it was $10,000. Now, quickest way to execute. You want to build a relevant curriculum. And what I mean by this is, a lot of people focus on software development, data analysis, project management, business analysis, all the data, what's the other one here? UI UX designer, all these amazing things. I get it. Don't get me wrong, it's fantastic. I'm not knocking anybody's hustle. But the problem is, these are things that are no longer a scarce commodity in the Western world. So people in the Western world, the you and I of the Western world, have started to learn these things and pursue them as career now, right? So the opportunity or the gap or the gap, let me call it that, is things like cybersecurity, artificial agents modeling, things like that. So when you build this curriculum and you're able to find companies that are looking for these talents. Come on, guys. Easy work. Now, when it comes to target audience, it's actually B2C and B2G, right? And I'm going to talk about B2G, but let's talk about B2C. Obviously, you're going to target young individuals that are fresh graduates, young graduates, things like that. Now, let's talk about B2G. Now, you know, in NYC, there's the side program. I don't know who I'm speaking to right now, but if your leg is long, and you can find a way to get this side program and just offer these services, the youth of Nigeria would be more valuable for them to be learning things about cybersecurity or artificial intelligence modeling or something. Like, it will be way, or, like, I can't even begin to tell you guys. Like, come on, that's more relevant. Don't get me wrong, we still need plumbers, we still need electricians, we still need carpenters, we still need these guys. Please don't get me wrong. Don't. I'm not trying to be naive or silly here. We need these guys as well. But it would be good to also offer these other tech roles. How do we go to market? The first thing you want to do is all the employers or partner agencies that you have gotten to collect students once they complete your bootcamp. Let all those people make a video talking about the amazing opportunities that are available for the students once they are done with the program. This would give people some form of incentive to understand that, okay, after I've paid this money for this bootcamp, there is something waiting for me. There is job or work waiting for me. That sort of thing. You also want to offer a taster course. So a taster course could be for a program that has 50 modules. A taster course could be 2 or 3. The first 2 or 3 modules, just so they know what they are going to get involved in. I'll give an example. If you want to join my e-commerce program right now, there are certain videos that I've put on this channel that are ideally and directly for my e-commerce program. So watching those videos will give you an idea of, oh, this is what Damini's e-commerce program is like, right? That sort of thing. If you're interested in e-commerce, you want to build your own e-commerce business, check it out. But yeah, let's continue. Everything that we've spoken about, everything that you decided to do, you're going to then take all of this and create an organic social media content strategy, right? You want to make sure you post these things on social media. As you are building your platform, as you are building your curriculum and all of that, you're also going to leverage SEO, okay? Again, it's an online business, so you're going to leverage SEO and talk about relevant topics that are aligned to your curriculum. Once you have all of this set up, time for paid advertising. So you set up some paid ads and you run it to the max. If you are building this kind of business, you can spend so much time talk about cybersecurity in a particular way, and then it will change immediately, which is a problem. I agree. However, it's also an opportunity, because that means your business or your platform would always be relevant. So as you're looking at the problems, the issues, understand that those issues and problems can also be looked at or seen as opportunities. The next business idea is co-working spaces for remote work, right? So you have places like CC Hub, you have places like WeWork, you have places like another one called Regus, right? The key difference here is, well, to be fair, CC Hub calls themselves an innovation system enabler or an innovations enabler, which is fantastic, right? That's something that we should be as well. Now, when it comes to remote work, it is slowly becoming normal and replacing working in the office, right? A lot of people have started to request for hybrid strategy or hybrid roles, you know, where I only come into the office maybe 2 or 3 times a week and I can work from home. The challenge is those people that work from home are also tired of working in their bedroom or working from a dining table, right? Not a lot of people have a home office, that sort of thing. And that's where you come in. You want to provide that platform, or you want to provide a location where people can bring their laptops and come and work. They can come and have meetings, right? For small scale tech startups or small scale remote businesses, they can actually bring their staff for one particular day a month into your co-working space and have a meeting and get to know each other and do some form of team bonding activities, things like that, right? Setting this up is also quite straightforward. What do you need? Fast internet, a clean environment, a clean and noiseless environment, actually, great food, right? great food. I'm not talking about amala, pounded yam, fufu. No, nice breakfast or sandwiches. Offer nice croissants, things like that. You know what I'm saying? And last but not least, in fact, the most important, great coffee. Another thing I'm going to say here is, when you do build these businesses, don't go and build it in Lagos. I think that's one thing that a lot of people are expecting, that, oh, obviously this will thrive in Lagos because there are so many people in Lagos. No problem. The cost of building this in Lagos will not allow you to scale as fast as you need to scale for this particular business. And what I mean by that is, if you build one in Ilorin, build one in Port Harcourt, build one in Benin, if you know, you know. Like, you could build one in these places and then make some money, and then build another one in these same places, and then go to Abuja, build one, go to Kaduna, build one, go to Enugu, build one, go to Anambra, build one. When you have all these pockets and all these sort of locations that have been set up, you can now go to Lagos and build. When you go to Lagos, because you have so much experience and so many different platforms, you can actually just partner with an existing workstation, buy them over, or kick them out of the market, right? So this way, you're going to start the other way around. Most businesses will tell you, oh, start from Lagos and then branch out to other places. The problem is, the cost of setup in Lagos would probably cost you the setup of maybe Ilorin and Ogun State together. So why don't you set up two places and make money from two places and begin to build equity, begin to build social content, begin to build a brand from two different places. And then with time, within 2 years, 3 years, you can become big enough to now come into Lagos and leverage what you've built already in these other two places. You are building a remote station, right? People should come and obviously work remotely. I agree. But you want them to be aware of it. It's almost like having a gym membership. You don't want people to just come and sign in and sign out. You're not in a cyber cafe, right? This is not a cyber cafe. You want people to have a membership, right? Good. And one of the ways you can get people to have a membership is by training them or showing them how they can make money online, or how they can become a remote VA, or how they can become a software developer, or how they can become a artificial intelligence operator, things like that, right? You build your platform, and in that platform you offer free programs. Now the catch is, the only way somebody can access these free programs is that they have to come to your facilities and register in your facilities. So once they register, they then take the first key, I'll probably say the first key, maybe 5 modules. 5 modules is plenty. Maybe the first module or the first 2 modules in your workstation, and then, you know, they can go home and continue it. In that scenario, you are bringing in people to come and try out your facilities. You are bringing in people to come and see what you have available. Those people, whether you like it or not, you can put some form of social sharing. Once they've registered, they have to put it on their Instagram or their story, things like that. They don't have to. I don't think it's legal or right to force people to do this, but you can incentivize them to do it, right? That's how word of mouth begins to move. If the program makes sense, they will refer people. Once they want to work and they're tired of working from home, guess where they will come to? Your station. When they registered for the free program, they gave you their email, didn't they? They gave you their WhatsApp number or their SMS or their phone number, didn't they? You leverage email marketing, you leverage SMS, you leverage WhatsApp, things like that. Now, when it comes to the major hurdle in this business, the cost of it, the cost of setup is the major hurdle. This is going to be the most expensive business for you to set up. Like I said, it's some form of real estate, right? It's some form of rent to rent. The only difference here is it's probably going to be more expensive because you have to rent the building and you have to pay for the facilities for at least a year up front. Your personnel is also going to be interesting because you would, let me think from up to down. You will need a facility manager. You will need some form of admin. You will need somebody that is, well, it doesn't have to be full staff, but you need somebody that is going to handle the tech situation, security guards. You need representatives for food. You can have vendors to do that. So yeah, you see, the setup cost for these things it's going to be quite expensive. What you will notice is the last 3 ideas I gave you, so the tech servicing company, the tech boot camps, and this co-creation space can actually be formed into one. So you can start with one, build it to a certain level. Once you have enough customers, introduce the second one, right? Build it to a necessary level, build it to a consistent level, and then introduce the third one. You can actually put those 3 together. But if you want more ideas and you're looking to maybe start an e-commerce business instead, you want to see what that's like, you can watch any of these videos.